Hi all, this is your weekly recap video. Um, so last week you were asked to look at two different case studies and answer a few questions about assessment and programming and who you might, I think, collaborate with. I felt like everyone did a really great job and all the major bases were touched on. So some of the points that came up. For Jim, Jim, he had inconsistent cane usage and was totally blind. And he also had a paraprofessional that helped him provide one-on-one assistance walking through the school throughout his entire day. Even though he did have the ability to walk to a couple different locations on his own, he almost always had assistance. So let's talk about Jim first. Assessing his cane skills is a big thing. And a lot of people brought up that they would assess his cognitive mapping. I thought that was great. That's definitely something you should assess. Let's see. And one of the major concerns was how to deal with the paraprofessional. And that most of you have already seen that a lot of our kids get a lot of additional help, probably more help than what they need. So why is that? I think that we go into education. Everyone goes into education because we're caring people, probably more than your average person. And enablers come in all shapes and sizes. They're teachers. They're not just paraprofessionals, right? A lot of parents you'll see will also handhold. It's faster. A lot of our kids are kind of slow and it takes a little while to get that skill going, and it seems safer to them, right, to handhold. So it is really a main aspect of our job as an orientation mobility specialist to show people that our kids can and should do something independently. They should walk to that specials independently. They should go to lunch without that para holding their hand. And how do we do that? How do we show people that that's something that our student needs to do? I think it's really important to get that paraprofessional's assistance. And so if you see that your student has too much assistance from that person, ask for their help. One, that makes the paraprofessional, it gives them more buy-in so that they are giving that student more independence, but it also, you need their help, right? You're only there a fraction of their day, and it's certainly not every day. So you need that paraprofessional to be working on the goals that you set for that student. So one thing that's really worked for me is asking, hey, do you think that you could join me on our next lesson? I'd really appreciate your help. And show them exactly how they can help you, and show them the goals that you're working on with the student, and how they can work on those goals with you. That I've had really great success, and my students have made huge strides in things that a lot of people didn't think they were going to be able to master, because the paraprofessional was in on it with me. So don't think of them as enablers. A lot of times they just don't know any better. When I think about what I thought I knew prior to becoming a TBI or orientation mobility specialist, and if I would have seen someone that was allowing a poor blind child to run into a wall or fall off a curb, I would have thought, God, what a jerk. Why can't they just take their hand and help them across the street? Why are they being mean? Right? And that was my own thoughts prior to. So let's not expect other people to know better when we probably didn't know better prior to being taught it. So I would just say avoid, like, I would like to educate you on their needs. That doesn't work. But if you ask for help, they're very willing to help you. So that was Jim. And Anna is so typical of our kids, right? So she's got some low vision. She doesn't want to use a cane because it's embarrassing. She might actually need the cane. You don't know. So that's really one thing that is very important to assess is when does she need a cane, and if so, in what environments does she need a cane? And I think the most important thing about that is including Anna in on those assessments. Like, you don't think you need a cane? Let's see. Let's do these assessments together and see. When does your last service provider? Oh, all the time? She wanted you to use it all the time? You know what? Maybe you don't need to use it all the time. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't need it at all. Let's do these assessments together and figure out if you need it. I'm very willing to drop the cane. But let's look and see. Let's look together, and let's see if you need it, and then do the assessments. And if they struggle seeing, I had a student, I think I mentioned the discussion board, very similar to Anna. She had low vision due to albinism, which meant that she has some photophobia, so light sensitivity. So when during bright light, so during the day, she had some problems seeing across the street, seeing that traffic. She was blinded if she was walking into the sun. And so I said, looks to me like you might have some problems. I'd hate for you to get hit by a car. And so she and I'd laugh and be like, Alyssa went splat. Let's not do that. I know you don't want to use it in school, and I feel like maybe you don't need to. It seems like when we were walking around together, you might just be using it as an identifier, and I think everybody in the school knows that you're visually impaired, because maybe we could talk about that later. If you're not comfortable using it within the school, maybe you don't need it within the school, but I think you do need it when you're crossing the street. I think you do need it when you're crossing the street. And we used it on mobility lessons when we were together. We still use that cane. We did mobility lessons. I asked her where you wanted to go. We went to Starbucks a whole lot. I think I bought 5 billion Frappuccinos. But she was getting the cane skills she needs. And I feel like as she grows out of that being so self-conscious phase, which is kind of middle school, early high school, she's going to have that cane skills because we worked on it together. And that if she feels like she needs to get to the bus to go to work, then she's going to grab that cane and take it with her. I really felt like that was just a phase she needed to grow out of. And being open to her not using a cane really helped me out, because it was not a fight anymore. She was very willing to dig in her heels, but as long as I took that fight away from her, her fight left. And it was like, okay, well, she's going to take me to Starbucks. I'll use the cane then. So I thought that you guys, it was really a great discussion. You brought up some really major points, and all of the things that I would have discussed, one or all of you brought it up. So I thought it was really a great activity. I love those real world what would you do situations, because I think they're the most useful. So I'm really looking forward to next week's discussion. I think it's a great group, and I enjoy hearing your posts. Thanks a lot. Bye.